Boom. So one of the last assault teams I led that was going over, in this instance, over to Iraq. As a team leader, your job as the officer and then as the chief, that's kind of your partner in crime, is to is to do a lot of things. Sometimes you're an actual tactical element leader, sometimes you're a therapist, sometimes you're a priest, sometimes you're bailing somebody out of a tough spot, or just kind of working through the problem sets of a bunch of wild personalities that are constantly pushing the threshold, testing you, and pushing the boundaries of what they think they can get away with. One of the cool parts of the military is there's lots of insignia and totems that people have, one to identify a unit, and that people carry themselves for good luck or superstition out there on the battlefield. There's two that people have come to know well, but we trade coins. They're unit coins, which is actually like a metal coin that usually has a unit insignia, a saying, or some cool design on it that you trade those coins. And then combat units in particular, and then some of the most famous units have super famous patches, but will have a patch that they wear on their body armor, their sleeve, or their shoulder to kind of represent the unit they're a part of. And a lot of those come with unique designs. And warrior cultures for centuries have had this. Samurai, as I understand, would engrave sayings on their swords. The Spartans had a V on their shields for the Lacedaemonians and some of the things that represents. There's all these totems that people have used for years to take onto the battlefield, and patches is one that we wear. So a patch would be, I brought one, a patch would be something like this. This is the bone frog. Seals came from the tradition of the frogmen. This is kind of the new version of the frogmen, kind of bone skeleton frog. But this would be a patch, like I said, that would go on your body armor or be with you. This is kind of I don't know if that was a personally designed patch or one you can just go get. A buddy gave that to me, but lots of different patches I've had over the years, and I've saved those. I came into our team room, and a bunch of our junior guys, the enlisted guys, the shooters, were designing on the kind of whiteboard with erasable ink, the patch. So there's always one guy in the team that's artist or a drawer, and they're kind of coming up with these. And I look at all of them, and they all look like the Knights Templar or some Crusader patch getting ready to run into Jerusalem on crusade. And I'm like, ooh, I kind of see the patch. They can tell something's going on, but I don't freak out. But I was like, what do we got going on here, boys? They're like, oh, we're designing a patch, boss, coming up with a couple ideas. Then we'll submit it to the team, vote on it, and go with it. And I said, no, sounds good. I get it. I said, does anybody know what our primary mission set will be in Iraq when we get out on this deployment? One of my guys immediately, exactly like the warrior and killer he is, says our job will be to close with, find, identify, kill, or capture the enemy. And I was like, no doubt we'll be doing that for the bulk of the time. Our actual that's a byproduct of what we're doing. Our actual primary mission set, as dictated by the force commander that's running this deployment, is to partner with, train, and operate with the Iraqi army, so they can actually take over the security of the country, learn to do that job, and we can get out of there. So our partner force will be Muslim Iraqi soldiers. If we're partnering with a teammate over there in their land, does it make sense for us to bring a Christian-looking Crusader-type patch as if Richard the Lionheart is heading down to Jerusalem to try and win it back from Saladin? This is just, I'm asking you, do you think that will be the good way to become a team linked with the Iraqi military? And the guys begrudgingly sort of, complain and kind of work through it. I left the room. I didn't want to belabor it. To be honest, if they ended up with one of those patches, I probably wouldn't have fought them on it, because I feel like that's their job to do. They did design what I consider to be an appropriate and cool patch, so we moved forward. The best thing about this part is when we got over there and went into combat with these Iraqis, some of who died right next to teammates and people that I was in fights with and fought right alongside us, is about midway through that deployment, we started wearing the patch of the Iraqi unit we were training, just to kind of show that solidarity and that connection. You might have a totem that you use, or an insignia or a design or a logo that goes with your company, your family, something that you like to wear out in the world. Make sure the meaning, the kind of force and spirit behind it, is right. Ever onward.